This is the Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, our regular monthly meeting of Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. It's 6:05 p.m. We're at the auditorium. May I have roll call, please? Dave?
Sure. Okay, we've got Scott Barden.
Here.
Scott Miskell, the interim director.
Here.
Got Sam Dudley.
Here.
Ruth Hager, chair.
Here.
Kevin Rulli. Here. Carmen Burden.
Here.
And Dave Hartman.
Thank you. Next, the approval of the agenda. I do want to change something about the agenda. We have an executive session. I'd like to move that to number 1 on new business, if that's okay, just to get it out of the way first. So that makes the others 2, 3. Okay. Anybody else have any other changes to the agenda? A motion to approve the agenda, please?
I so move.
That's Kevin. Have a second?
I'll second.
Sam? Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 1, 2, 5 to 0. Motion passes. Agenda's approved. Public comments, please. Do we have someone here for public comments?
I have props. Good evening. My name is Sharon Roberts, and I'm a citizen here of Eureka Springs. Tonight begins my avocation for the Spring Park reservations of East Mountain. I have brought you visitor guides that contain a map courtesy of the Parks Commission. Highlighted on that map are the reservations of concern. You also have an image of Cave Springs Park Reservation. One is dated 2008, and there are 2 images of Cave Spring taken in the late summer or early fall of 2020. An interesting side note, the water from Cave Springs took 2nd place at the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904, losing only to a spring in Switzerland. There was a time when these reservations were preserved, protected, and enhanced by city gardeners. You can see that a wall collapse, invasive plants, and lack of enhancement has occurred over the past years. In the spirit of the mission of Parks and Recreation, which states, to preserve, protect, and enhance the park assets of the greater community of Eureka Springs, and to manage them in ways that maximize their benefits to present and future generations. I look forward to seeing planning and implementation of the needed wall repair and the scheduled enhancement of Cave Spring Park Reservation. Over the past years, the Park Commission has implemented a number of ongoing tourist businesses in Leatherwood Park, to include a marina with a bait shop, boat rental, lodging, camping pads, and mountain bike trails and shuttles. The greater community of Eureka Springs treasures our municipal spaces, our natural spaces, and as noted in the 2020 survey responses, wish to maintain what we already have, spring park reservations and historic structures. Thank you for your mission of preserving, managing our existing historic spaces for the citizens of Eureka Springs and the enhancement and enrichment of all those who come to visit them.
Thank you, Sharon. And I know that the crew up there said they had it on camera too, so we have pictures of the visual aids that she brought us. They have pictures up there that they put on screen so people will be able to see them. All right. Anybody else? What's next? Chairman's comments. Quick comment that losing commissioners here and there, we have Christian gone and others soon. And I just want to make sure everybody knows out there that we are doing an important job here, and I'm glad to be focused on it, but we do need to keep our eyes and ears open for others who want to join the commission as well. So just wanted to pass that on, and that's all I have to say. Scott?
Thank you. I'll try to be very quick because we've got a lot to cover. I first would like to, this isn't actually responding to public comment, but we, in fact, are hoping to give the whole East Mountain area a lot more attention. You know from the year-end reports that I requested, in fact, it's in the budget that we're proposing tonight, additional funds to be able to take care of those areas because they are sorely neglected. And we've already begun the planning of that. The picture we have here of the wall that's been, for many years, has been down. I've gone to the owner's house just adjacent to this, met with her, and we confirmed the property lines, that this is on our property. And this and other projects up in that area, as soon as Dave Renko gets on board, he and I have already gone out and looked at this, even though he's not on board with us until around the 1st of February. And this will be one of our first projects. So we are giving that whole area a whole lot more attention this year. This literally will be his first project. We've already discussed that. So the people who live, thank you, the people who live up in that area do deserve better, and we get visitors through there as well. But we are giving that whole area some additional attention this year, even including where the kiosk, or excuse me, the pavilion is, the gazebo, the lookout, needs sanding, painting. That's the sort of thing that we'll start doing up in those areas. So we do look forward to giving those areas some more attention. Also, the dog park, you know, for a couple months I've been reporting that we've been doing some work there. We finally got the concrete gutters in, the fence repaired. We were waiting on contractors for that. So it's just a matter of really putting some more gravel down on the road, getting the kiosk, the large kiosk out of there, the one that came out of Basin Park. That is going to Lake Leatherwood City Park. In fact, it's going right where the Sasquatch will go. We've been building the pad that was going in just today. As you know, the budget and financials are done and submitted. We hope those are approved today. Cabin 1 is still being renovated. Quite substantial structural damage to the floors and a new roof, among other things. If we get the budgets and financials approved today, the next administrative thing will be working on shuttle operations, a plan for that, including the websites and social media need a lot of attention. I still don't have passwords or the ability to get into those yet, so I'll send Christian another email and hopefully get access to those real soon. Dave Renko, as you know, should be coming on board around the 1st of the month, and we really look forward to that. I've already mentioned one of the first projects that he'll be doing. We'll also be working on signage at Lake Leatherwood City Park and Beecham Trail. We put a hold on a few months ago based on some public comments, and Dave and I will be looking at that and taking his recommendations on how to finish that. I do want to mention that the people in the Parks Committee is getting back together. We've had 2 meetings now by Zoom. I thank Carissa Litherland for chairing that. We've got a number of different projects, including various events for the second half of the year. I just don't have the time to go through them all. But volunteerism is picking up. We have a number of projects that we'll be doing, and events, assuming that we get some herd immunity and can start socializing again. Thank you. That's all I really want to cover tonight.
Can I quickly ask about the cabins at Lake Leatherwood? You said cabin number 1. Are the other cabins functional right now?
Oh, yes.
All of them are just...
Yes. And this one was functional. The floor was very soft and squishy, and it needs a new roof. So we're only taking one cabin out at a time and hoping to get this one completed before the busy season starts. The plan is, and I've requested it in the budget, we'll try to do one cabin a year. I requested $20,000 for remodeling the cabins. For the one we're doing now, that we will certainly exhaust that, if not more. The others are in a lot better shape and shouldn't take 20 apiece, but we do have plans to renovate one each year for the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports. Trails, maybe, Carmen?
We met, but nobody attended, so that was it.
Aw, sad.
It's slow season.
It's this time of year, too.
Yeah.
What other committees do we have?
Finance?
Finance Committee, thank you. Kevin?
Yeah. So as Scott mentioned, we've got third and fourth quarter financials in the budget. Scott Varden and I have been working with Scott Miskell on it. We're comfortable with where things are. There's still work that needs to be done. Scott and Nikki have been doing a lot of work on trying to clean up the schedule of accounts because it's just, frankly, it was a mess. There were numerous accounts that had duplicates of the same thing. And there's some outdated thought behind how it's being reported. The in-town LLCP and Leatherwood Fields separation in the financial reporting makes absolutely no sense from any respect, other than what falls under the 8% sales tax. And so that's where Scott's going to be working towards migrating things to, is reporting it based on where the revenue is coming from it. So it'll basically be general operating, which is 0.25% tax, Leatherwood revenues, and unrestricted grants or donations. Then it will be the 8% restricted sales tax, which is capital improvements in Lake Leatherwood, and then any restricted grants or donations. And that'll be the way it'll be broken out. That's the way we will budget things. That's the way we'll track things as we go forward. It's just going to take, I think the last conversation we had, he felt pretty confident we could get there by first quarter so that we can start migrating to that kind of reporting in the first quarter. And
That's good.
It'll line up better with the budget. It'll be easier to track the budget that way.
Yeah.
But everything is in good shape. There were a few things that Scott Barden had highlighted in the budget that is really where they're located in the budget, not the amount. So it's not going to change any of the total spend that's proposed. It was just, there was some question. Scott had asked for, I think in here, there's $25,000 for a new vehicle because the vehicle that Vince uses currently is just about on its last leg. And it was in operating expenses, and after doing a little research, it should really be in capital expense. So it's a matter of where things are falling within the budget, not necessarily any amount. So we can go ahead and approve, or we're recommending that we go ahead and approve the way they are tonight. Scott will make the adjustments before we submit them to City Hall and City Council.
That's it. No, that's good. I looked over all the stuff y'all sent. Appreciate all the work. Makes it easy when they're submittable by the time we get to look at them and do all the homework first. Thank you, Ian Scott. Any other committees to report right now? No, I don't think so. Old business, there's nothing on the agenda under old business. Let's move on to new business. The first item on new business would be our executive session to consider extending the duration of the interim director appointment, and is that it? That's enough, right? Be careful what I say. Say the right words. Employment issues of the interim director, extending his duration of, what was it, 90 days before extending it? Okay. So for executive session, do we want to stay here or go downstairs? Y'all want to just leave? Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. You ready?
Sounds like it.
Okay. We are live. This is the Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation Commission. Return from executive session in our regular meeting Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. The time is 6:45 PM. Any action to be taken after the executive session?
Yep. I'd like to make a motion. So I'm going to motion that the commission extend Scott Miskell's appointment as the interim director until we hire a permanent director, and with all of the duties of the director, so they'll remove his restrictions, and to raise his rate of pay to $27.50 an hour.
I'll second.
Okay, that was Dave and Kevin. Discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hooray. Does make our lives easier. Scott's. Back to election of officers. So we need to elect officers for 2021. Shall we start with, what's missing? What do we have? What do we have? We have chair, vice chair,
Secretary.
And
Secretary.
secretary.
and...
We need a new secretary because Christian quit.
Yes, we do.
I'd like to make a motion for the nomination of Kevin Rule for chairman of the Parks and Rec Commission for the year 2021.
That's Scott. And a second?
I'll second it.
Was that Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Discussion? Kevin, do you want to do that?
Sure.
You're aware? Okay.
Yep.
No more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Kevin is chair. Now we need vice chair.
So when did we vote you in as vice chair? 2 months ago?
When he quit being secretary because he wanted,
Well, yeah, so why did we do that? We needed a vice chair because you moved up to chair and
Cameron was
And-
vice chair, right?
Cameron quit.
right.
So I guess the question is, do you want to relinquish it, or do you want to continue as vice
Yeah,
chair since it's
let's
only
go
been a
ahead and
couple months?
let's open it up if anybody wants to grab it. In
Is there
fact,
any
I'm gonna,
objection to,
Does anybody else want to be vice chair? We're dying to be it. Dave, you can stay vice chair if you want to.
Scott, you want it? Not really?
I mean, that's not a no, it's just,
I motion that we elect Scott Barden as vice chair.
I'll second it.
Okay, that was Dave and Kevin in discussion. Scott, so you okay with that?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. So Scott Barden is vice chair. And secretary.
What exactly does our secretary, what are they responsible for, minutes?
Minutes.
Minutes, agenda, I think ideally agenda and minutes. And, yeah, that's about it.
And really, I think it's, I mean, I think what Scott and Nikki did this time in putting together the agenda, sending it out for everyone to review, and really the agenda coming from the director primarily.
Works much better.
Because they're the things that are priorities.
We used to
him.
do that
It's
a long-
probably the right thing to do. So
We
the
did that way a long,
secretary's
long time
role
ago. I know why we
is
stopped.
really,
Yeah,
is really roll call and meeting minutes.
yeah.
I'll just keep doing that then.
Yeah, I mean, really, a long time ago, that's how we did it, and it always worked much better because you know what you need on the agenda.
Right.
Okay, so secretary? Sam's gone.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at you.
Yeah, Sam, you want to do it?
Just tune into the YouTube, yeah.
My only problem with me volunteering to do that is I'm stretched with work I'm doing out of state. And there's a 50-50 chance I may or may not be here. And this is a position that you need to be here. If it wasn't for that, I'd volunteer for it.
If I'm going to be, I would gladly do it as far as caring to do it. It's really beyond my skill level.
I'll do it.
Okay. Dave will?
Sure.
I'll make a motion for Dave Hartman to be secretary.
I'll be your backup in case something happens, that we can work something out.
Sounds good.
So that was a motion from Kevin. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Sam, a second. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
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 Motion passes
Aye.
5-0. Dave is secretary. And we never did come to a conclusion on our treasurer thing, but we don't really need one now. We have finance committee,
There's,
so
yeah,
that's better.
there's no need.
Okay, that's all the officers, right? Okay. What's next? Appoint-
Committees?
Yeah, committees, appointment of commissioners to committees.
So I would suggest, again, since we only placed people on the committees a couple of months ago, unless somebody wants to step off, that we just focus on filling any empty positions. I'm fine with staying on the Finance Committee. Scott?
I'm good there, unless
Okay.
somebody wants to.
You were
on
hiring
report.
committee and you were the planning and reports committee, right?
So then that was, yeah, so that was Sam and I, so if anybody who wants to be on planning,
Okay. Did we ever populate our grievance committee? Or did we decide the whole commission as a whole
Yeah.
was the grievance
I
committee?
think that was me and you.
Harmon?
I think it was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep that the same. And Dave's by himself on planning and reports.
And then there would be the hiring committee as well.
Hiring is me, and Dave said he wanted to. So Dave Hartman, you and I can do hiring, and I'll help you with planning and reports too if you want.
okay.
Okay. Is that all the committees?
Did we do what was the grievance committee? Was that, or have we just decided that was a responsibility of the whole commission?
That's Carmen and Ruth.
It's grievance, it's Carmen and I.
Yeah.
We did discuss it being the whole commission at one point, but no, I think it was Carmen and I, so.
Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, is that it? Do we have to do motions for those, or do we just,
I think unless there's any objections, just do it by unanimous consent.
I think so, unanimous consent. So finance is Scott Barden and Kevin.
Yep.
Planning and reports is Dave Hartman and myself, Ruth. Grievance is Carmen and myself. Hiring, Dave Hartman and myself. Is that all?
That's it?
That's it.
Are we
Okay.
doing trails?
Oh, trails.
Trail.
Gosh, thank you. The most important one.
Trails?
Well, maybe not really, that's not true, but this is the most obvious one we should have thought of. Trails, Carmen and,
Anybody else?
Well, it's just been you so far, right? At least
Right.
officially on the
When do you
commission.
meet, Carmen? It's Wednesday?
The last Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, I can try and,
Okay.
at least early in the year.
I'll start coming more often. I know there was a little bit of a, a little bit of a issue with having multiple commissioners there, but
Well, you
Definitely
won't
be
be a
there more
commissioner
often.
anymore, will you? So you can go.
I know, I get to do whatever I want.
do whatever you want now. Okay. So Carmen, Dave Hartman,
We'll
and
go to
we'll
all
see
the
Sam. Okay, trails, thank you. Okay. That's done. Now we have moved on, we're going to move on to financial statements. Let's get the third and the fourth quarter financial statements. Everybody's had time to look at them, study them, ask questions, et cetera? Yes? Let's start with third quarter financial statements. Do we want to have motions per quarter, right? and balance sheet, P&L together, okay. Okay, third quarter financial statements. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved?
No, Dave? Okay.
I'll second.
Kevin, second. Okay, discussion, questions? I thought they looked great. Very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, they're a big improvement. It'd be nice, all that deleted in the category cleanup is, and, it makes it a little bit messy, but
Yeah, they will be, when we get first quarter out, all of the accounts on here that are being shown as deleted are going to disappear, so they're going to be a whole lot simpler.
awesome.
Again, there was absolutely no reason to track fuel by vehicle. And in the future, the only one that we will track independently will be the shuttles.
Correct.
Simply so that we can do a P&L on the shuttle operations.
And I should point out, by the way, that we didn't put the deleted in there. The only reason they're in there is because we had a 2020 column for comparison, and because there were numbers in 2020, it had to show the category. So it
Sure.
did that automatically.
No, I get it. Just, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Y'all ready to vote? Okay, all in favor of approving the third quarter financial statements?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. They are approved. City Council will be very happy. Let's move on to fourth quarter. A motion to approve fourth quarter financial statements?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Scott Barton?
Second.
Kevin, second. Discussion? Questions? I think there's the same discussion we had for the previous ones. Looks great.
Yeah.
Geared
It also seemed like, financially, we actually did better than I would have thought this year.
Well, and I was actually just going to point that out. The encouraging thing about this is even though the sales tax revenue was down, it was not down that much considering the shutdown for the entire second quarter. And Parks revenue was actually up considerably. Even with the second quarter shutdown, we were up year over year. And I think it was because, people were using the park as a getaway. And they weren't really able to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I would, honestly, we've talked about that, and we kind of expect that to continue through this year, as long as
Yeah.
COVID is an issue. I
Yeah.
don't see any reason. That's one of the reasons why we talked about the need to, invest in the cabins and invest in more camping pads.
Well, it's mirroring what's happened in Eureka. The shops downtown, a lot of them had, many of their months were better than they've had in years. Restaurants too, everybody was up because people are choosing Eureka Springs as an escape from the COVID world out there.
You had a phenomenal growth of revenue on the cabin rental out at Lake Leatherwood.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see that jump. It looked like in an era it was so high, but it wasn't. It was just
Yeah, I mean, it was almost, it was 50%. So, a 50% increase year over year, so.
And to put that in perspective and have hopes for this year, Mr. Huss had implemented a procedure where when somebody vacated a cabin, we had to wait 2 days before it could be re-rented. So there was a substantial
True.
amount of downtime
Yeah.
that we shouldn't have to deal with this year.
That's true. And there was a time we couldn't rent it at all because of the.
Right.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that's great. It's going to be a good year for the cabin rental and for revenue in the parks in general. Okay, so we're ready to vote on the fourth quarter?
Yep.
All in favor of approving fourth quarter financials?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Budget?
This is one I should probably just point out a couple of things. I think most of these numbers speak for themselves, so I'm not going to just restate something that's very clear. But I do want to point out that we have a substantial amount of money from the 1.8% sales tax. And I talked with the Finance Committee Friday, I believe, about opening up a separate bank account and we will take the money that's deposited in our general account every month, hopefully within a day or two of receiving it, and we'll put that in the separate segregated bank account just for that 1/8% sales tax. That way it'll make it very easy to track exactly what's being paid and how that's being used. And also, since it's restricted funds, I just don't like having them commingled.
Right.
So we will do that, but
Did you have a chance to look into whether they have interest-bearing checking at Cornerstone?
I haven't yet,
Okay.
no.
Because I think quite honestly, it should have a separate checking account, so.
Right.
You know,
Yes,
any of the capital improvement work that's done, we can pay out of that account and just make everything easier to track and make it a whole lot more transparent.
So Scott, this is actually a separate checking account to disperse 1/8 cent funds
Right.
for projects
right,
approved for that
exactly,
expenditure, is that right?
exactly.
Okay.
And that way, there'll never be any issue. We've had people come, in fact, it was difficult for me to go in and dig in and find
Yeah.
how things had been spent it was tedious. But to put this all in perspective, we have about $75,000 in the money market for that. We have a carryover from 2020 of approximately, $95,066.13. And we estimate $140,000 for this year. So that gives us a total of $310,000 approximately. You might note that we only have specific projects that total, where is it?
135.
135. So I just want to make it clear that that doesn't mean we're not going to spend that money, or we've got several very large projects that are in the works. The road needs to be patched and repaired, but the city doesn't own the road at the moment, so we're working on getting that remedied. But we'll need to spend a substantial amount on that. Bids or estimates that I got to do it all, including a chip seal, which we may or may not need, but we're well over $100,000 for that. We have the dam railing, not the dam railing, but the railing for the dam. We have the bathhouse that we did budget for an architect to at least plan out some, get some design work done. Maybe not a comprehensive design, but at least enough of the design to bring to the commission, for some approval. We have the cabins that I mentioned. So the point is, while we have a large sum in reserves there, we have the projects that desperately need that money, and it's just a matter of getting through the planning, design, engineering, whatever the case may be. So when you look at that large number there, it's not that it's not spoken for. We have way more to do than we have money for, but it's a good problem to have. So that's about the only, the only major thing to point out.
Well, and I think part of that is the carryover. A big part of that was that
Yeah.
there was little done in the way of capital
Right.
improvements in the park
Yes,
this last year.
Right.
So between the COVID shutdown and change in leadership and, everything else. So, yeah, it's having more money is a good problem to have, but if you lay out everything that needs to be done, we still don't have enough money.
Right.
just one other issue was Scott Barden had made the comment that the vehicle is listed under just general expenses, as I recall. But Scott pointed out that it's really more of a capital expenditure, capital expense. And so I was going to move that item. It won't change our bottom line in any way, but I'll just move that to a different category. It was, let's see, general expenses, but I think we'll rename that, excuse me, it's wrong. The in-town capital improvements and maintenance, and we'll change the language of that to just capital expenditures.
Yeah.
Get rid of the in-town part.
Right. I didn't like the in-town and LLCP, but that's what traditionally had been used. So I just point those two out because if there is a motion to approve this budget, that motion might include that the maintenance vehicle will be moved from an overhead expense to in-town capital improvements and maintenance, which will be changed to just capital expenditures. And I think those are the only comments that I need for clarification,
Okay.
unless anyone has questions.
Any questions? Are y'all ready to make a motion?
I move we approve the budget, 2021 budget, with the noted amendments that Scott will make before we pass it on to City Hall.
Okay. Sounds good. Second?
I'll second.
Ms. Kevin and Carmen, any discussion?
I think we should specifically say that put in your motion what the change is,
Oh,
just for clarity's sake.
just, so moving the category, moving the
New maintenance.
the new maintenance vehicle category from general expense to capital expense.
That's good. Okay. And Carmen, you still second that with the rewording of it?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin and Carmen, discussion? Questions? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. 2021 budget as approved.
Will these third and fourth quarter financial statements for 2021, including the budget we just approved for 2020, and the new budget for 2021, is that going to be sent to the city council, to Kim, so they can distribute that to the council line? Okay, good deal.
Kim had requested this morning that if these were approved, that I forward those to her.
Yes.
So I'll make these changes and forward them
Okay,
to
yeah,
her.
she asked me about it too. Okay, good. Scott will do that, thank you. Okay. Ready to move on to shuttle? Agenda says, consider regulation of shuttle operations and code of conduct at Lake Leatherwood City Park. Again, we've had this in our emails. Everyone's had time to look at it. Scott, Miskell, I know you prepared this. Anything you want to tell us about before we start?
Yes, I did make a couple of very minor changes. As I recall, one of them was that any of the shuttle vendors would have to be licensed in Eureka Springs and pay whatever appropriate sales or use taxes there might be. So that was one. There was another one.
Was that not in there before?
Pardon?
I thought that was in there before, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, I did add that. And there was one other one, but it was...
Was it social media?
Oh, yes, thank you. It was the social media that the shuttle vendors will not be able to, I had it that they couldn't solicit park visitors as riders. They could bring in their own riders, but that would be it. I did add that they can't advertise or otherwise promote their own businesses from our social media or websites. And as part of getting our arms around the shuttle operations, we do need to get access to those websites and social media. And Christian had said that he was putting some things in writing for me, and I'll keep following up with him and see if we can get that and get started on that. I am also looking at some software that where you can schedule the shuttle rides right from online. So the Gravity page, for instance, would have a spot on it where they could click to schedule a shuttle ride. The nice thing about the software that I'm looking at, there's several of them, but they also allow scheduling of things like the cabins and the campsites and the pads, and it's actually going to be cheaper than what we're spending now on Reserve America if we go that route. So I think we're going to get a lot better end product and actually save a little money, and I look forward to that. But I just don't have access to that right now. And so as soon as I possibly can, I will jump right on that and get those things taken care of.
So they'll be able to schedule and pay too?
Oh, yes, right.
Good.
So people will be able to show up knowing that they have a ride, it's been paid for. And the nice thing about it is we can package deals. Like, for instance, somebody's coming out, we can, whether it's with a follow-up email or pop-up, there's any number of ways to do it. Offer, 5% off on a overnight cabin, or a paddle boat ride, or what have you. We can kind of upsell things and try to get people to not just come out from Rogers or Bentonville for the day, but maybe spend the night, bring the family.
Yeah. Well, and it'll also enable us to operate the shuttles during the week when it's profitable to do so. If there's going to be a group coming down midweek, offer them, they can rent cabins,
Yes.
for a 5-day period. If we know how many there are, then we can schedule our shuttle for that period of time. Right now, what we've talked about is really Saturday and Sunday and third day holidays really are the only ones that make sense currently to schedule shuttle drivers to be here. Once we have the ability to forecast need, then you can start expanding those days and doing it more profitably. I think the numbers that Scott put in here are quite conservative if we manage the business properly. I think the other thing to note about this is that what it's proposing is that the licensed operators will be paying us per rider, $5 per rider. We're proposing that we are raising the daily rate to $30 an hour. So even though they are now being asked to pay us for every rider they bring here, they're still making the same amount of money. So I think Scott's looked up, I've found the single-use paper wristbands that you can buy in numbered rolls with different colors.
Yeah.
The numbers will allow us to track the number of riders. And actually, I was thinking it would be good to create log sheets that correspond to the numbers that we would ask the licensed operators to get all of the people that they're selling shuttle rides to put in their information and contact information. I mean, having an email list of all the riders enables us to now promote things better and communicate directly with them. I would love the day that we can move away from social media as a communication tool for the shuttles, because right now, that is one of the biggest areas of conflict.
Yes.
It is. There's half a dozen different Facebook pages relating to Lake Leatherwood trails, Eureka Springs trails, Lake Leatherwood Black Bass trails. There's nobody responsible for responding to them. I mean, on the Passion Play, Sam responds when somebody asks. Somebody asks a question on these page, it just kind of bounces around, and then it's become kind of the first phase of a battleground between the private shuttle operators. So I've actually gotten admin rights on the one that the CC Riders originally set up.
Oh, good.
So once Scott has access to the Gravity page, when we start controlling the messaging that goes through that, then we can migrate people over, direct them to that, and shut down these other pages.
Well, and even if somebody does post something on there, anyone that has admin rights
Can take them off,
can take it off.
right?
Right.
Right, which right now, I see these things and I can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
I would point out that attachment 3 is 2 motions if anyone
Yes.
so chooses. The reason I wrote them up as suggested motions, the big part is that the code of conduct would be effective immediately, except for one provision that relates to the bike shuttle certificates, which we just don't have yet. And the first motion gives us till March 15, directs me to have the program implemented by March 15. I had started a few weeks ago the application and the other documents that we're going to need, but we need to have those and then get them to the shuttle operators, get them approved, et cetera. So I'm proposing March 15th as the day of implementation, and but the code of conduct be implemented immediately.
Okay.
So you need a motion?
Yep.
Yes, in the motion. In the motion, do you need to say anything about no, we talked about, you're going to add the part about not promoting their business on our social media.
It's been
It's in
added.
there. It's in
Sorry.
there.
I did add it.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, Scott, if you're ready to make a motion, that'd be great.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the regulation of bike shuttle vendors in Lake Leatherwood City Park, which dated January 15, 2021, and to direct the interim director to implement the program by March 15, 2021.
A second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Kevin, Scott Barden, second. Discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion
Aye.
passes 5-0. Okay. We have a second motion recommended by the director. Do I have someone to make the second motion?
I'll make that motion.
Scott?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the code of conduct for bike shuttle vendors effective immediately, except for the provision related to the bike shuttle certificate, which shall become effective March 15, 2021.
I'll
Scott?
second it.
Kevin, second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Shuttle operations plan is in place. Thank you, Scott. And Scott? I think that's everything on the agenda.
You got minutes to approve?
Minutes to approve. Oh, yeah, the ones I handed out. So, I have a motion. Have you had a chance to look at them? The motions from the minutes from the special meeting and the minutes from last month's regular meeting. Do them two separate motions.
I'll move to approve them.
Ms. Kevin, a second?
I'll second.
Carmen? Discussion, question?
I'm gonna abstain, but I think we have enough votes to get it passed.
This is for the special meeting, correct?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Ruth, there's two meetings here. I wasn't here on the December 15th and the one.
Okay, so
Ninth.
separate them. Let's do the,
Let's separate them, yeah, let's do it, okay. Special meeting, or monthly meeting first, last month's monthly meeting, December. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 15th?
I so move.
Ms. Kevin, have a second?
I'll second.
Sam? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 1, 2,
I'm gonna abstain.
Dave?
I wasn't there.
Because they weren't there.
But I think,
You can
Ruth,
vote.
I think you need to
I'm going
vote.
to vote.
be the fourth.
Chair votes in favor, so 4-0. Okay. The other minutes from the special meeting?
I'll move to approve them.
It's Kevin, have a second?
I'll second.
And Sam? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin says aye.
Yeah, aye. I guess is that already, have we already settled all that stuff? The
Oh, we-
the check signing and all that? It all
Yeah,
taken care
that
of?
was
Okay,
when we
cool.
did at Sparkus.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Scott?
And you.
And me, 4-0. Chair votes in
And I'm sorry,
favor.
who moved and who seconded it on that? I didn't missed that one.
Who moved that?
I moved, Sam seconded.
Okay, got it.
Dave and Carmen abstained, and chair voted in favor, moved it 4-0. Okay. Commissioner comments? Any comments? We'll start with you, Dave?
Sure. Yeah, for the big crowd we have today. So we will have 2 openings, as Ruth noted earlier. I would love to see us get somebody with a little bit more of a naturalist bent. I know we have a good person coming on board as an employee, but I kind of have a lot of trails and bikes people. It'd be great to see someone come on that's, since we lost Stephen Foster, we don't really have someone with that background. And if there's anybody out there watching maybe that is interested in getting involved in city stuff, this is a good committee to get on and learn the ropes maybe. It's a small city and there's a lot of stuff to do. So I think everybody really needs to pitch in if you can.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Carmen?
No comment.
You're fine? Okay. Kevin?
I'll agree with David's comments. It's Scott and I had actually discussed that earlier today, that it would be good to have someone with both a naturalist focus and maybe even a master gardener that could, bring a little diversity of opinion to the commission with the things that we have, the spring park reservations, the efforts that we've got going on out at Leatherwood. It would be good to get a little more diversity on the commission.
I would agree. Anybody?
And then I'd just like to thank Sam for his selfless effort over the last 4 months.
Yes.
Thank you. Very long time.
But we know you're not going anywhere.
True.
So Sam, any comments from you?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, when I first started, it was, we all know how we felt when we came to meetings. It was kind of a mess, and I feel like we've done really good work, and I want to thank all of you guys for making it happen. I mean, I'm really excited to see what you guys can do for the parks in the next year. Raising a family here, so it's extra important to me that we have good opportunities for recreation and outdoor recreation. Thanks for guiding me through this. I'm sorry it's such a short span, but
You'll be back.
I think I did a lot in the 4 months than probably most commissioners do in 5 years as far as how much has changed. So.
I think we've met more in the last 5 months
Yeah, I think so,
than any
too.
other commission
Yeah.
has in a year.
Yeah.
So-
More time reading emails,
Busy 5 months.
answering FOIAs,
So,
getting caught up.
thank you. It's been good.
Great. Scott Barden?
Ruth, I'd like to thank you for the challenging year you've served as our chairperson. You've done a very good job, and it's been very difficult. You met the challenge, and I respect you for that. And I think we all appreciate what you've done and been willing to do. And I want to thank Sam for his service. And I look forward to the future. And I know this time, 12 months from now, we'll look back and be able to explain some positive things that we've been able to bestow upon the citizens, and look forward to the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to not being chair, though I have been honored and very glad to do it. I really have. I was very glad to do my part and step up. It was a difficult time to step up into it. And I felt like in the beginning especially, anything I did or said was so
There's been a lot that's happened in the last.
scrutinized, and I tried so hard to be careful, and my usual normal soft-spoken self was actually perfect for the time, was perfect timing for it. But it made it hard to balance, wanting to get things done, but trying to remember that I feel totally confident this is going to be great this year. Got a whole year of all of us, and more.
Well, almost all of us.
Almost all of us, and more, and the work that we're all doing out here, including the press and our public and City Hall, it's going to be great, and COVID-free eventually.
I will definitely make an effort. If I think of or hear of anyone who might be a good candidate, I will recommend it to them.
I'm to throw their hat in. If someone is interested in being a commissioner, they have to live in town,
Yes.
in city limits, okay?
I don't want to leave Christian Super out, but he's
Yes, thank you.
been a solid
Very
solid
solid.
member, and I know life change comes our way, and we make those decisions, but, you know, I hate to see him go, but he has to make those decisions too, so.
Yeah, he'd be greatly missed. And, you know, it's said like being chair, there were extra things, the time it takes to do these things. It takes a lot of time, and some of the efforts he was making were very time-consuming. And with the work he does, it was hard for him. So I appreciate Christian, too. Okay, any
Thank
other?
you, Christian.
Thank
Keep
you,
watching.
Christian. Thank you, Sam. Any other announcements or things? Okay. Our workshop will be Tuesday. When is that? Tuesday, February 2nd?
Yeah, Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog Day, yes. And then our next regular monthly meeting will be February 16th, 2021. And we don't have a workshops thing yet, but we can come up with one. And then the hiring committee and some of the other committees can decide among themselves to get together, figure out what's going on with that. Get trails going again, it'd be nice. People should start getting out now the weather gets nice and show up to meetings and get excited about trails. That'd be good. Okay, anything else? A motion to adjourn, someone?
So moved.
Second.
Move we adjourn.
Okay. Who was that? Sam and
Scott?
Dave and
Tim and
Scott.
Scott? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.